Hi, this is Dean Rutherford. I just wanted to come to you today and have a brief discussion on how to best sell your farm in the current farmland market in the Midwest. Uh, Primarily, we look at two different ways. Historically, the farmland has been marketed in the Midwest. There's the private treaty method, or there's the auction method. Private treaty is historically the way that farmland was sold for many, many years. Very similar to the way we sell houses today. You establish an asking price, you market the property, you take offers, you negotiate. Once you get a mutually agreed upon price, then you sell the farm through a closing process. The more established way of selling farmland today is the auction method. The primary way that we sell farm ground is called the multi-parcel auction process. This process was invented by Rex Schrader back in the late 60s, early 70s. That's the process by which we take your farm and we divide it into its different valued parts. So you'd have your farmland component, which is your productive farm acres where the crops are grown. You have your non-farm acres, which would be like your woods or your house or buildings improvements. Those are going to have different value to different people. And so by carving the farm up, you give different people an opportunity to buy just what they want, and therefore we typically find that they're more willing to pay more for it if they only have to buy what they want rather than being forced to buy the whole farm. We also allow large buyers to compete with small buyers, which is also a real advantage because you get more potential bidders on your farm. Even if they're just bidding on part of it, they can push values on the total. We sell the farm however it brings the most money. What we're looking for when we're trying to decide which way to sell a farm is we're looking at productivity primarily. That's really what pushes a farm's value. How productive is it? What kind of crops can it grow? That establishes what the cash rent will be. And the higher the cash rent, the more money that it's worth. It's a dollars for value thing. When we're looking at the best way to evaluate that farm, it's just simply looking at soil maps. It's looking at crop production maps, the percentage of tillable to non-tillable, those types of things. When we're trying to determine the best way to sell a farm, when we're looking at a private treaty sale, the best thing you gain with that is control of the price. You get to determine what that price is, at least initially. If you don't get any offers, then pretty good sign that you're not in the market range that the buyers are finding acceptable, and you adjust that and you move forward. With the auction process, you control everything except for price, because on auction night, the only thing we're actually determining is the value. When we close, how we close, where we close, who pays for what, who pays for the surveys, all of those things. As the seller, you get to predetermine all of those. So the only thing that's happening on auction night is we're determining who that buyer is going to be and how much he's going to pay, which is kind of a convenient thing from a seller standpoint. The other thing that you gain is very definite time frames. When we set an auction date, that's the night that we're going to determine the price of your sale. We market it for 6 to 8 weeks ahead of time. We know we're going to have a closing roughly 30 days after that auction night, and you know when you're going to get your money, and you can pretty much count on that. When you go to sell it privately, you're kind of at the mercy of the market. When people look at it, when they make an offer, what that offer is, and maybe they want to negotiate some of the terms, and different things. And so that's where that comes into play. People generally like the auction method because there's fewer variables. So that's what we're shooting for when we look at an auction. The main thing you gain with an auction is a sense of urgency. Tonight's the night we're going to sell this farm. If you're going to buy it, you're going to buy it tonight. Who are you going to compete with? You're going to compete with everybody else in the room, plus the people online. Online has become a very serious component of farmland sales. I've got a few competitors that have decided that that's the best way only to sell a farm. What I can tell you as someone who has worked with multiple different competitors in the Midwest farmland market is that the primary advantage to an online only sale all goes to the broker himself, not the buyer, not the seller. It goes to the broker. That broker doesn't have to do anything. It's all online. He doesn't have to secure a place to have the auction. He doesn't have to promote it. He doesn't have to go out into the community and talk to people. So those brokers that want to put in the least amount of effort and still get paid, they love the online auction. You can see it in who's doing it and who's not. We can tell you that if you think about what an auction is a competition between buyers. And how do you get that competition? You put them in a room. They know who they are. They know who their competition is. They may have other reasons why they don't want Joe, the neighbor, to buy the farm. So they might bid more. But if they're online, they don't even know who Joe is. They don't even know if Joe's bidding. So that level of competition, that urgency, isn't necessarily going to be there. The only thing that's still there is the notion that tonight's the night we're going to decide who the new owner is. Beyond that, all of the emotional part of it, the seller confirmations, the competition between neighbors, all that's gone. It's not there. It just simply isn't put in the room. There have been fairly successful online-only sales recently. That's primarily because of the lack of inventory in the marketplace. As long as there's only a few farms for sale and a lot of people trying to buy them, the competition is going to stay healthy. I tell people all the time, the first auctions to fail when the market shifts, and the market always shifts. Sometimes it shifts and becomes tighter and the prices go up. Sometimes it shifts and the price comes down. When that market shifts to where we are moving the market down, those first sales to fail are going to be the online only sales because you've removed the emotion from the process. And the lazy brokers that are getting those sales, they're not putting in the work. They're not doing the pre-auction promotion, the discussions with the people that need to be talked to, the questions that need to be asked and answered. When we're talking about preparing for a sale, the most prepared sales, the most prepared people selling their farms will generally get the best price. Obviously, when we go back to selling your farm is a function of the value of the farm, its productive capabilities, and that absolutely plays a part. But the difference between what one broker and another can get you for your farm is effort, preparation, getting the people the information that they want, the FSA maps, the soil maps, the fertility records, the yield history, drainage information, past lease terms, any surveys or access issues being resolved prior to the sale. All of these things become key components to creating buyer confidence. So when that buyer goes into your sale, they have the fewest amount of questions that remain unanswered for them. And then it's just a matter of them sitting down and deciding what they can afford to pay for your property. That's really why that's, in my opinion, the most successful way to sell your farm. Gives you the best chance of getting maximum value, and it leaves you as the seller in the highest level of control of the entire process. So thanks for listening.